for mic check levels, can you say and spell your first and last name for me?
Sarah Mesimore, Mecimore.
And then you spell Sarah with an H?
Yes.
I always have to ask. It's hard to.
No, it's okay.
Okay. And then just Colorado Springs police officer?
Yes.
Title?
Yep.
So, firstly, why did you want to become a cop? I know last year was really rough for cops, especially in Colorado Springs as well. What motivated you to want to do this profession?
My reason is actually kind of personal, but I'll elaborate on it a little bit. Due to the situation that I had in high school, I've always wanted to help people. Like officers were there to help me when I was in high school. They were great, and I just, from that day forward, I'd always wanted to be a cop.
And do you feel comfortable telling me what that experience
No,
was?
I don't.
That's okay. That is totally fine. You don't have to.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to. So kind of walk me through what training was like. I know they showed the video. There were some funny moments, but what was it like for you to go through that?
It had its fun moments. It had its hard moments. Some days were easier than others. Granted, any type of training. From the academic stuff, some of that was easier than others. Just some of it, like CRS, the statutes, there were days worth of training, which made it hard to wrap your mind around. Wellness was challenging in every way, just pushing your bodies to the limits, which can be fun at times, but other times you just got beat down. The skills training was really fun. That was probably my favorite part of the academy. So doing all the driving, firearms, arrest control, and stuff like that.
What was the most challenging part, whether physically, mentally, either or both?
For me personally,
Take your time.
I'm like, I don't know, the most challenging part, there's a few. Sir, I have a question. Am I allowed to say red man without elaborating on it?
Say arrest control.
Arrest, okay. There was an aspect in arrest control that was really hard for me. It definitely pushed you to the limits in just a short amount of time. But it definitely showed me at the same time that I am capable of doing what I need to do in the situation if it arises.
So what does it mean to you to be a police officer now?
For me to be a police officer, it means that I have a great responsibility to help others, to help my coworkers, and anyone who's in a rough situation. People don't call the cops on good days. They always call when they're in a moment of crisis. And like I stated before, I wanted to be a cop so I could help people in those moments of crises. Sorry, I don't know if you have to edit that. Okay, like they were there for me, and so I just think it's a big responsibility, but one that I'm definitely looking forward to doing.
And what kind of bond did you form just through training? I know that was a big thing that was talked about, was you guys are a family, you're a unit. Did you experience that? What was that like, just going through the training aspect?
Well before the academy even started, we had made bonds. I had made bonds with other people. We've gone out and got dinner and just got to know each other, and that was really great. Once the academy started, it solidified a lot more. We did a lot of activities together and just went out after training to just de-stress, get to know each other. We would do study groups for the academics. We planned to go bowling, and just Rudy's was our thing. We really liked Rudy's. So it was just nice to have that camaraderie in the family atmosphere, being away from my own family.
So speaking of family, who was here today to get your badge?
My dad was here, and then my husband was here as well. And then I also had my grandparents here, but they didn't come up.
And what was that like, that moment of finally having the badge on you, but also knowing it was your family that put it there?
It was a lot of mixed emotions. It took a lot not to cry on stage, which is something I told myself I wouldn't do. I was excited, happy, I'm anxious to move on to the next step. Kind of nervous, as with anything moving on. PTO is going to be an interesting next step. So it was just a lot of mixed emotions.
Is there anything else that you would like to add just about either the training or today being the final day where it's real now?
It still hasn't sunk in that it's real. I think it might take until next week when I start that it's real. It's been a blur today, but it's been an exciting blur. But Colorado Springs Police Department is definitely where I wanted to be, so. Yeah.
Okay, so for mic check reasons, can you just say and spell your first and last name for me?
Keith James. I have to do it phonetically. Keithjames.
Perfect. Okay. So, some of the questions are going to be
Is this
similar.
straight? Okay. Sorry.
You're good. So, tell me why you wanted to become a cop.
I wanted to become a cop just to continue a career of service. I think I was given the opportunity to continue that career, and I wanted to serve locally because my family was here, and so I wanted to serve around where my family was.
And do you have anyone else in your family that was a cop, or what was like the driving force specifically in Colorado Springs? Well, I know you said your family, but
Colorado Springs is where my kids are at, and so it's the community has given my family an opportunity, and I only felt it's best to reciprocate. That's how I feel communities work best, is when everybody does their part to participate, and the city gave me a great opportunity. They believed in me, and so just trying to do my part.
I asked Sarah this question as well. After last year, with everything that happened downtown and just nationally as well, what was kind of your reaction or your feelings seeing the way that police were portrayed on the media and just on social media and all kinds of things like that? How did that make you feel knowing you wanted to become an officer?
Well, I think it really pushed me to be more educational. So part of my goal was to also be educated about the process, educated about the culture, and I definitely got a lot of education on the process and the culture. Fell in love with it, and I think it's one of those things that a lot of people should experience. I think it answered a lot of questions for me, and I think it's something that just grew my appreciation for what these people do day in and day out. Police officers. I was in the military. In the military, you go on deployments and you come back home. Police officers are guarding our families while we're gone. They're strapping on, the body armor, the equipment every single day. And to be honest with you, like I said, my appreciation just grew.
So after today, you are officially a police officer for the city. So what is your goal as a member of CSPD?
My goal is to continue to portray great culture, and just continue to lead by example, to portray the type of affection, love, empathy, and compassion that I've received from the police department to the community. And continue to make sure they know that we're out there to help them and serve them, protect their rights.
So now, you mentioned being former military. Having gone through the training here with CSPD, what was that like? Was it easier, harder? Didn't expect it? What was it like for you?
It's different. There's different considerations. I thought being in the military would assist me here, and so I learned that if I leaned on my military training, that it took away from me learning and developing as an officer. There's a lot more considerations. I had a great appreciation for the Constitution, a greater appreciation for a lot of the charters and laws and local laws, the Colorado Rights statutes, all those things that make citizens great. And so gaining that appreciation really helped me understand how difficult it is to be a police officer and what a great opportunity it is. It's a blessing.
Kind of talk to me a little bit about the bond and the family unit that is a police force.
Yeah, police department, it's definitely a different breed, and it's meant to be that way. I think the sacrifices that the police officer takes is one that is rarely understood, but everybody, I think, benefits from it. The culture that Colorado Springs Police Department has portrayed so far to me is that not only do they care about me, but they care about my family. I'm a single dad, and at times the academy is very difficult to operate in that schedule. And I personally had instructors who cared about my situation, who cared about my struggles, and actually helped me through it. Even when there were times where I didn't think I could handle it, didn't think I could do it, I thought life was taking over. And I had instructors pull me aside, or kept their door open, and I don't want to start crying. It meant a lot. It meant a lot. And so like I said, I feel like I'm already in a deficit, and I'm just trying to give back.
So you said you're a single dad. Who was here today to pin your badge on?
My sister and my brother, they traveled in from out of state, and then my 3 kids, Nicole, Joy, and Troy, pretty much my motivation for everything that I do, and so another great opportunity to share this with them and continue, that spreading that message to the next generation.
And what was that like, seeing them come up on stage and placing the badge on you?
It was great because I know they were going through it with me too. Like it's difficult. There is a challenge on the family, and the academy forced me to challenge myself to become a better parent. It forced me to look at different ways of parenting, and I appreciate it. And I feel like I've become stronger going through it. And so for them, I feel like this was a reward for them as well, because this was just as much a victory and a success and achievement as it was for me.
And how old are your kids?
My oldest is 11, my middle child is 7, soon to be 8, and my youngest is 6.
What do they think of this, knowing Dad's a police officer now? What is that like for them?
Well, I thought it might help out with some authority. It hasn't really benefited me in that way. But with all the wellness, I'm definitely stronger. So I'm able to pick all of them up and take them to bed. I'm able to clean up maybe all their heavy toys now, and really just allow them to see their dad in a different light, a serving light. It makes it easier because that's the kind of lineage that I want to pass on to my kids, is one of servitude. And so it's easier to demonstrate that in this uniform, in this community.
That's awesome. And then lastly, I feel like a lot of people have a certain perception about cops, whether good or bad, because of, just what they see out in the world. If there was one thing you could tell people that they don't know about cops, either what they go through with training or what they go through on a normal day, something that people don't know or don't understand, what would you tell them? I know that's a big one.
No, it is a big one.
Yeah.
I would say that the one thing that kind of stuck through for me is that we truly are products of the people. Our power, who we are, what we're all about, our mission, how we change as a culture is for the people. It's for the benefit of the people. We are truly servants for this community, and we're dedicated so much that we're willing to put our lives on the line. I have no qualms about making that commitment. And so I think if people understood that, then they would, I hope that they would look at us as there to help them and to serve them and to do the best that we can do in their best interest.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about today or the future or any of it?
This is a long road for me, and honestly, I know I can't deny that I've put in some work, but I honestly am grateful for the opportunity. This is a great opportunity, and a lot of people invested some time and energy in me. I just want to make them proud.
When he was doing his little dance, that was just one day they were doing arrest control, and he comes in and does his little